right, what's up, y'all? It is Coach Nina here, and this is the first Teach Me Something About Money Thursdays. Okay, so we're gonna start doing this every Thursday, every-ish Thursday. We're gonna have these sessions where I teach you something about money on a Thursday. Okay, and so this first thing I'm about to teach you about money on this Thursday is credit. But not just about credit, how to keep more money by learning how credit works, why we use credit, why we need it, and how to keep more money overall by understanding just what credit is and how to use it. So a lot of students get excited about this, and I'm just gonna break it down for y'all. All right, so my name is Coach Nina, and I am the founder and CEO here at Student Dream, one of our chief teachers as well. And here at Student Dream, we are training ambitious Black and Hispanic students to build Black wealth. Most students struggle with money, and so we create courses and content around personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship so that you can financially thrive before, during, and after graduation, so you can graduate wealthy. Okay? So what does it look like, y'all? At the end of the day, I want you to know how to keep more money for us, for me, and for you. Wealth is the goal. But wealth is not just having an abundance of material things. It's not just having a whole bunch of money in the bank, but it's really being wealthy holistically. And of course, that starts with your soul, right? Really being wealthy in your mindset, in your soul. And that looks like contentment, right? Contentment is you being satisfied with having a little or satisfied with having a lot. Because at the end of the day, there are certain things that money can't buy. Money cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy real satisfaction. Money cannot buy freedom, all right? Real freedom. And so when we say wealth, when I say wealth, wealth is earning and saving more than you spend with joy, integrity, and generosity. Anytime you hear me talk about wealth, it's about earning and saving more than you spend with joy, integrity, and generosity, okay? And once you understand that definition and really grab it, that's when you got freedom. That you see Harriet Tubman in the back there? I'm trying to get y'all free, okay? And so when we go into that, understand that that's the goal that I have for you. So contentment is really being satisfied with having a little or a lot, or regardless. Contentment is you being satisfied whether you have a little or whether you have a lot. And so how do we get to that place of contentment? And again, stay with me here, I'm building on each other. Getting to that place of contentment really starts with gratitude, because at the end of the day, everything that's been given to you was a gift, right? God has given us great gifts to be able to manage and steward. We don't own anything, which means we're not entitled to anything, which means we should be thankful for everything. And so one of the daily habits that will help anybody who wants to graduate wealthy is gratitude. So what are you thankful for today? For me, right, I'm gonna go through seven things I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful that I was able to pray with one of my best friends this morning. I'm thankful that I was able to get a great workout in this morning, that I have an affordable gym. Shout out to the YMCA down the street. I'm grateful for just having a great manager at the other job that I work at. I'm grateful that I got to go to the 100 Women in Finance Gala, last night. I'm grateful that I got to coach one of my students who I haven't seen in a while, Stephen Alarai. Shout out to him. He just started his own dog walking business, and we just had a great session at this week's Student Investors Club meeting, so that was dope. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to work with y'all, to serve y'all, to empower you all. And a bonus one, I'm grateful for the Student Dream After School program that is about to launch in January at Uncommon Canarsie. Really excited for that. It's going to be our first time not working with university students or high school students, but our first time working with elementary school students. And just this great vision of being able to work with them from elementary through college. I mean, sky's the limit. So that's what I'm thankful for today. And I want y'all to let me know in the chat when you watch this, what are 7 things you're thankful for? If you start to do this every day, every night, I promise you, you will start to build a heart of gratitude and subsequently a heart of contentment that is satisfied whether you have a little or a lot, because money can't buy happiness. So that's the foundation, y'all. All right. And once you get that foundation, you're really wealthy internally. That's when some of the practical tools that I start to give you will start to help you build that wealth. And that's the perfect transition into talking about credit. All right. So credit. So question for you. Do you know what your credit score is? Do you know what your credit score is? And my other question for you is, does your credit score even matter? Why or why not? Does your credit score even matter? Why or not? Why not? The answer is yes, I know what my credit score is. And the answer number 2 is yes, your credit score does matter. Okay, if you want to keep more money, and if you keep more money, that means you earn more. And if you keep more money, that means you can be in a better position to build wealth and graduate wealthy. So yes, your credit score does matter. Okay? And so we're going to quickly understand what credit and debt is. I'm going to help you understand the steps to build good credit. We're going to understand the credit and how credit and debt actually destroys people's lives and people's wealth, not necessarily, subsequently sometimes people's lives. We're going to help you find your credit score, and I'm going to talk to you about how to keep more money. Okay? So credit score breaks down to your FICO credit score, right? This score is a score ranging from 300 all the way up to 850. And it shows lenders, right, people who are going to let you borrow money, it shows them how likely you are to pay them back, right? There's certain friends you ain't going to lend money to. There's certain friends you will lend money to because you know they're reliable, they're trustworthy, and that you will get the money back. And so the same thing works at banks, at credit unions, at places that are going to let you borrow money. They want to know what's your credit score. At car dealerships, when you go to buy a home, right? When you go to get a loan for that business you're starting, they want to know how likely is this person going to pay me back? And the credit score, your credit score, is what will tell them whether or not you are likely to actually pay them back. Okay, so that's what the credit score is. And so it's directly going to affect how much interest you pay on your mortgage, on your car loan, on your insurance, on your credit card. Okay? And so what is interest, y'all? That's the other. What is interest? That's the word of the day. Interest. Interest is the cost of borrowing money. Because it's not free. It's not free, y'all. It is not free to cost money. It's not free to borrow money. Borrowing money costs money. And so the cost of borrowing money is interest. All right? And so you want to would you rather have to pay the highest interest or the lowest interest? So if you want to pay the lowest interest, you got to get good credit, because the lower interest you pay, the more money you can keep. All right? And remember, our goal is to help you keep more money. So that's what we're going to do. Help you keep more money. And so how do I get a better score? What is actually in a score? So what's in a score, y'all? There is, number one, it's not just paying your payments on time. That's part of it. But the number one thing that's going to impact your score is your payment history. Okay? Have you been paying on time? 35% of your score is dictated by you're just paying your bills on time. So make sure that if you have a credit card, students, if you have a credit card, parents, if you have a credit card, educators, whoever is working with our young people, you want them to make sure that they are paying on time. Your payment history makes up 35% of your score. Okay? And then the next part, right? There's 5 things that make up your score. Number 2 that makes up your score is the amount of credit that you're using. So funny enough, even if you have a credit, let's say you have a credit limit of $1,000, you shouldn't be using more than 10% of that. You should not be maxing. If you want your credit to be good, you should not be maxing out your credit cards. All right? Because 30% of your number and of your score is going to come from the amount that's owed. So if you owe and you're utilizing all of your credit, that's going to reflect poorly. Because it's like, man, maybe this person ain't got money. I don't know why they're using all this card, this credit. So keep your balances low. The question is, are you keeping your balances low? Are you keeping your balances low? Are you keeping your balances low? All right, because that's what's going to help you build your good credit. Keep your balances low, all right? Number 3 is the length of your credit history. So the longer you've had a card opened is actually a bit better. It'll affect your score by 15%. Okay? So that's another thing you want to think of. How long have you had that credit open? What's up, Michael? We are talking about how to help these students build good credit. And then number 4 is new credit. All right? So it's good to actually open up new lines of credit every now and then. That's going to affect your score by 10%. And then the last 10% is your credit mix. That's a mix of having student loans versus credit card versus mortgage. It reflects better on your overall score. All right? So those are the 5 things that make up a score. And again, having credit requires you to take on debt. And so you want to be very safe and cautious with this, because if you are living in a place of being discontent, you want to make sure it's easy to get into a place of really owing a lot more than you can afford. And so it's the key to have a manageable debt load. So the debt that you take on, you want to make sure this is debt that you can pay off reasonably on a monthly basis. Okay, you can actually afford to pay it back reasonably on a monthly basis in full. All right, and so debt, to be clear on what it is, it's owing any amount of money to anyone for any reason. It could be a credit card, student loan, medical bill, car loan, store card, home mortgage. All right, it takes many shapes and forms, but those are the more common ones. And so if you have credit, if you owe somebody money, if you have credit, you most likely have debt. All right, and so some ways to quickly find your score, because you've got to know your score, y'all. Go to annualcreditreport.com. Every year you can pull your credit 3 times for free. You can look at the top reporting credit bureaus, right? These are the organizations that actually report your credit and keep track of how much you owe. They are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, okay? And so you can go to annualcreditreport.com 3 times a year. You can pull that report. Start of the year, you can pull it from TransUnion. Middle of the year, you can pull it from Equifax. End of the year, you can pull it from Experian. And that's going to lay out all the money that you owe. It'll help you see, oh, are there things that actually you didn't take out, right? You can see if someone's being fraudulent. You can make sure that that's together. But you can also get a good grasp of how much you owe, fully laid out. And from there, you can start to make a plan to repay it. Okay? And so we talked about how to build your credit. Easiest way is to make sure you're making your payments early, like a week before your statement closes. Make that payment, because you want to make sure that the ending balance is at that 10% level, right? If you're paying it in full, you want to make sure that you're not just paying it in full, but really paying as much as is going to get that balance to lower than 10%. So it shows the bureaus that you're not taking up all of your credit, that you're not using up more than you can actually afford. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about length of time having that card, paying it off on time, and not using all the credit that you have. Those are the 2 best ways to build your credit. Make sure you're paying on time, number 1, and then number 2, make sure that you're using only 10% of your credit limit. Okay, 10% and lower. So even if that's, hey, I'll pay my phone bills $50 every month, boom, that's all I put on my credit card. All right, so that's number 2. And then you can get a secured credit card. If your credit's really bad, you can go to your bank or your credit union, and they can give you what's called a secured credit card. That's essentially you using a debit card as a credit card. All right, so you can go to your bank and you can put, let's just say $100 on this secure debit card, and then it will count towards as a credit card, essentially, and they'll report your payments to the credit bureaus. But you got to make sure that they were reporting to all 3 bureaus. Okay, so that's number 1. And then next, the easiest way is to become an authorized user on someone else's card. So ideally on your mom, your dad, your sibling. If they have great credit and you become an authorized user, their good credit will show up in favor towards you. So let's say my mom has a credit score of 850. I can use that credit, become an authorized user, and as I'm going through it, that's going to improve my score. Okay? So those are the 2 ways, y'all. Secure credit card and then become an authorized user on someone's who has good credit. All right? But at the end of the day, y'all, cash is better than credit. Cash is better than credit. Cash is better than credit, right? Credit card points can kind of get you some free perks. You can, get some travel credits. You can get some discounts on meals. But at the end of the day, cash is better than credit. Contentment is better than credit. And cash is better than credit. All right? So I want y'all to type that in the chat. If you are here, make sure you type it in the chat. Yo, contentment is better than credit. And cash is better than credit. Do not buy things you can't afford. If you are tempted to buy things you can't afford, you got to really check your heart and ask why. What type of satisfaction, affirmation, validation am I trying to get from buying things that I can't afford? It's not a need, right? And even start to really think, do I actually need these things that I'm going after, or do I want them? Because at the end of the day, if you're living above your means, you're never going to build wealth. Okay, so the best way to afford things, especially afford things that you can't pay for in the moment, is to save, is to build out that emergency fund, is to save for a rainy day, save for a crazy national, global, medical catastrophe, right? God forbid that happens, but you want to every single month put away 20%. 30%, 10% of the money that you have coming in for an emergency, so that if something comes up, you don't have to put it on credit. You can just pull from your own bank, right? From your own savings. Okay, y'all? So an 800 credit score, with no money in the bank is no bueno. That's not what we're after. All right? People who are financially healthy, they do not use credit card points to build their wealth. They have a manageable amount of debt. All right? And again, you want to really look at how much debt actually really costs. Debt is expensive, y'all. The average credit card percentage interest rate is 20+%. So we don't want to get ourselves into a place that's more than we can actually afford. All right, but that is it, y'all, for this Teach Me Something About Money Thursdays. We learned and understood what credit and debt is. We learned how to build our credit score. We learned how to actually ways that we can build our credit, how to find out what our credit score is. And at the end of the day, we learned that contentment and cash are better than credit. All right? I will see you next week at the Teach Me Something About Money Thursdays. If you enjoyed this, if you learned anything, make sure that you like this and share this with somebody share it with another student, share it with your college, high school age son or daughter, share it with an educator, and they can share it with their kids. All right, y'all? That is it from Student Dream, where we are training ambitious Black and Hispanic students to build Black wealth through courses and content around personal finance, investing, entrepreneurship, and music licensing. If you want to bring us to your school, we are here to help build Black wealth and help every single one of your students graduate wealthy. I will see you next week. Peace.